we should water it and keep it under a shade. To keep the wetness of the soil, I use moss. You can collect it from any wet area and you keep the moss around the plant. To conclude the demonstration, now we will go through all the steps of preparing bonsai style briefly. First, prepare the pot shallow container. Secondly, study the plant well and decide the style of the potential bonsai. Then, remove the excess branches, foliage and prepare the plant into the desired texture and the composition of the style. Next, wire and shape the branches where necessary. After that, remove the excess soil and roots. Finally, pot the plant, water and keep it under a shade.
Section 2. Listen to the following questions and answer them in worksheet 2. Question 1. Why do we consider bonsai as a living art form? Question 2. Describe the following phrases in other words. A. Miniature replica. B. Aged tree. C. Shallow container. Question 3. What are the contents of the soil used for bonsai? Question 4. 4 items used during the demonstration were not mentioned as material necessary for the creation of bonsai. Name these 4 items. Question 5. A. How many basic styles are there in bonsai? B. What are they? Question 6. On what basis are bonsai designs classified? Question 7. Which style has been selected for the demonstration of the bonsai creation in this presentation? Question 8. Why do we wire the branches? Question 9. A. Why should you wire the plant slowly? B. Why shouldn't you tighten the wire? Question 10. Why should you cut the branches in a triangular shape? Question 11. Why shouldn't you remove all the soil near the roots in the plant before potting it? Question 12. Why do you need to show the root system in a bonsai? Question 13. How do you prepare the soil for potting the plant? Question 14. In which direction should the apex of the plant lean or slant? Question 15. What type of watering can should be used? Question 16. What is the purpose of using chopsticks when planting a bonsai? Question 17. Why do you use tape to tie up the plant? Question 18. Of what use is moss to a bonsai plant?
This is Unit 4 on ecotourism. We'll be dealing. This is Unit 4 on ecotourism. We'll be dealing with a presentation on ecotourism by the President of Tourist Hotels Association of Sri Lanka, Mr. Srilal Miththapala.
Hello everyone, my name is Srilal Miththapala. I am the President of the Hotels Association of Sri Lanka, and today I am going to talk to you about ecotourism. In this program we will first discuss what ecotourism really means, what the definition of ecotourism is. Then we look at what are the elements that go into making a destination a proper ecotourist destination, and then we'll compare some of the things that we can see in Sri Lanka and see how Sri Lanka is compared as a good ecotourism destination. To start off the program, we will look at the definition of ecotourism. Ecotourism is defined as responsible travel to natural areas that conserves the environment and improves the well-being of local people. There are some important words here in this definition. One is responsible. That means when you travel, if you are an eco-tour traveler, you respect the place you are going to and take precautions that you don't damage the environment that you go to visit. The second important word here is natural areas. You are looking at natural beauty of a country, not the normal things that people go for, shopping and stuff like that. You are looking at natural areas. The third aspect is that in your travels you try to conserve the environment and also improve the well-being of local people. So let's go on to looking at the concept of ecotourism. That was the pure definition. Ecotourism includes environmentally responsible travel. That means when you travel, you are aware of the environment, taking precautions that you don't throw garbage, things like that, and be very careful how you travel with an environment conscious manner. Second important thing, like we discussed at the definition, the visitation is to relatively undisturbed natural habitats and areas. So you are not going to the normal run-of-the-mill places like the beaches and the shops and the cities. You are going into areas which are fairly natural, pristine in a country, to look at them and enjoy them. You enjoy and appreciate nature and culture. That's part of ecotourism. It supports conservation. That's a very important thing. So whatever ecotourism does, you don't damage the environment. You make efforts to see how you can conserve the environment. It has a low visitor impact. Now when you say low visitor impact, we will talk about mass market tourism a little while later, but in mass market tourism there's a lot of people who visit a country and a particular place. So when you have a large number of people, obviously there's going to be damage to the environment, damage to the area. Now ecotourism believes in small numbers, low visitor impact, so that people coming to a particular place will have a lower impact than a large number of people coming in. The other important aspect of ecotourism is that it involves the local population. You are not talking only of someone going to a hotel and having food and beverage in the hotel. You are talking about engaging local people as much as possible. The handicraft sellers, the other providers at the beach, whoever it is. So it involves local population in the mainstream of tourism. And by that what happens is the tourists start spending not only in the established hotels, but also start spending in various small establishments, which has then an economic effect, that people's money, the money that the tourists spend is trickled down to the other parts of the population. So ecotourism really is an embodiment of three aspects: the environment, the economic aspects and the social aspects. So those are the three elements that come, and where they cross, or the common area, is really what ecotourism is all about. Now basically there are two types of tourism you can think of, very basically. Of course there are definitions, but basically mass market tourism, where you have hordes of people coming in buses, large numbers visiting very popular places, beaches, cities, and that is what you call mass market tourism or conventional tourism. And the new emerging trend is ecotourism. So now let's look at the two aspects of mass market tourism and ecotourism. Mass market, by the very word of it, is large scale. You're talking about a large number of people all in organized groups going and visiting places. On the other hand, ecotourism is small scale. You're talking about small groups of people who are interested in a particular type of activity, nature, culture, bird watching, wildlife, things like that. Mass market tourism, because of the sheer numbers, there is bound to be some environment degradation. The environment gets damaged when a large number of people go through a particular place. Take for example our Seneviratne rock. There are about 3,000 people climbing that rock every day. So naturally garbage, damage to the environment, damage to the bushes happens. On the ecotourism side, of course, ecotourism is all about protecting the environment. You are going to a place because you love that place, because it's a natural beauty, and you are going to appreciate it. And you are going to leave it like that for other people to see. Over-visitation, as I said, like our own Seneviratne or the Dehiwala Zoo, for example, huge numbers of people. How do you manage that situation? Whereas ecotourism is all about low numbers, small groups, specialist groups who are interested. Mass market uses very little raw material for their hotel activities. You get imported things and cook and give the guests. Whereas in the case of ecotourism, the emphasis is on local, ethnic handicrafts, food, experience. The whole thing is about experiencing local materials. Final point is, in mass marketing, there is very little economic benefit that filters down to the lower end of the population. People come and stay in large hotels, stay there, go to their food and beverage outlets, but very few people go outside. Whereas in ecotourism, the whole aspect revolves around going to a small place, interacting with the villagers, seeing how they live, appreciating that, so that the villagers also get a benefit. So therefore, to develop ecotourism, you will require nice natural environments, what people would like to come and see. You must have wildlife. You must have hospitable people. Because remember, ecotourism is all about going out there and meeting people. So if the people are not friendly, if they are not hospitable, you can't call it a proper ecotourism destination. And finally, you must have basic infrastructure facilities for people to go to these places and see. Some of the world's ecotourism hotspots are Costa Rica, which has had a very good track record of being one of the world's best ecotourism destinations, Kenya with its wildlife, Belize, Alaska, again a very pristine environment which you don't get anywhere else in the world, New Zealand. If you have seen, New Zealand in fact takes this to an extreme in their branding. Their whole country branding is New Zealand 100% pure. That's the tagline. So you can imagine what a powerful message. It's talking about ecotourism. We are 100% pure. We are not mass market. Huge land, uninhabited places to go and walk in the mountains. Botswana, again a lot of wildlife. Gabon, wildlife. And Bhutan, trekking, hills, Himalayas, Sherpas, you know, the whole thing. So this is gives you an idea of what the other countries are doing, who are leading the way in ecotourism. So now let's come to see, can then therefore Sri Lanka also aspire to become an ecotourism hotspot? Let's see what Sri Lanka has. We have a 2,500-year-old history. We have virgin forests, sacred cities, cliff-top citadels like Sigiriya, royal heritage, 7 World Heritage Sites in Sri Lanka, one of Asia's richest troves of natural beauty, a close canopy cover of about 20 to 25%, one of the world's biodiversity hotspots, a 1,300 kilometer beach. We are an island, so therefore around the island you get a beach, and the only country in the world where you can see the two largest mammals, the elephant and the whale. So these will give you an indication of what the beauty of Sri Lanka. Let's just run through a few things. Being Sri Lankan, sometimes we tend to forget what we have. Beautiful beaches all around the island, hill country, salubrious, that means very harmonious, very nice hill country, spectacular scenery. I think we have something like 200 odd waterfalls. We have a world famous virgin rainforest, one of the few that is left in the whole world. As I told you, we have 7 world UNESCO heritage sites: Anuradhapura, Poronnaruwa, Dambulla, Sigiriya, Kandy, Galle and the Singaraja Forest Reserve are the 7 world UNESCO heritage sites. We have a biodiversity, about 20% of our land is protected. We have various ecological zones. We have several wildlife parks. For a small island of 65,000 square kilometers, we have 14 wildlife parks. We have an amazing array of species. We are one of the highest diverse species in the world in Sri Lanka. 3,300 plants, 80 mammals. It's mind-boggling when you look at the number of species that this little country has. A lot of wildlife. We have to only go 2 to 3 hours away from Colombo and you can see a lot of wildlife. Sri Lanka, as I told you, has the elephant, the whale and the leopard. Africa talks about the big 5. We can talk about the big 3. In Min area, once a year, we see about 300 elephants out in the open plains. Where on earth can you drive from a hotel 20 minutes out and see so many elephants, wild elephants? Remember, we talked about people. Our people, smiles, are world famous. As a nation, we are hospitable people. So therefore, we have in Sri Lanka a whole wealth of ingredients that will make it a fantastic ecotourism destination. Now, we should not run away from the fact that ecotourism is perfect. We look at the other side, the downside of ecotourism. Now, the negative effects of ecotourism is you could start destroying your local resources to make room for ecotourism. Like if there is a lovely beach or a lovely forest, if too many people start going there, people will get greedy and start building too many hotels. So you could destroy the local resources available. Remember, we talked about ecotourism as engaging local people. But if you go and engage people and take them, exploit them, make them do now, there's a big interest about this Vedas, the Aborigines of Sri Lanka. Now it has become a bit commercialized there. So has ecotourism gone there and damaged that environment? So you must be very careful when you engage these people that you do not exploit them and make them perform for the tourists. You must go, remember ecotourism was going there undisturbed and watching it, studying it, enjoying it in its natural splendor. Hunting down and destroying rare species and natural resources to make souvenirs. That's another danger of ecotourism. There was a lot of controversy about Singaraja, that people were going there and plucking the medicinal plants, damaging the resources there. Damaging the environment and destroying nature to make room for man-made establishments. As ecotourism gets popular, more and more people will want to go. Remember, the whole idea is low visitor impact. So if you are greedy and you start making hotel rooms, you will damage the very same thing that you are trying to protect. And using wildlife as tourist attractions primarily to generate money for the economy and not to preserve them. Remember, ecotourism was about preserving nature, preserving environments. Look what happens at Yala. The wildlife is used as a commercial entity. A lot of people go there not to study, not to enjoy wildlife, but just for the thrill of going there, surrounding an elephant or a leopard and damaging that environment. There is another downside of ecotourism, because ecotourism is seen as a responsible way of doing things. A lot of companies are jumping on to this ecotourism bandwagon, so to say. Everyone wants to become an ecotourism destination. They want to do things, and what happens is it is not done with proper planning, with proper ethics, and with a proper heart. So then what happens is you are just doing it for the sake of doing it to get a good name for your company or your country, and people will very soon then start seeing through it. It is bogus. So they have coined a name for this. That is, you are covering up for all your faults by doing something just to show the world. So it's like whitewashing a house so that your dirt is covered. You call this greenwashing. It's a very interesting word that has been coined and is now being used for the wrong way of doing ecotourism. Is called greenwashing. You whitewash your sins, you greenwash your sins and cover up what you are doing, but it's not proper ecotourism. So the benefits of ecotourism to Sri Lanka, it will help sustainable development. Our poor people, our rural people will start getting money. They will improve their economic status. It will improve the quality of tourism. Sri Lanka is considered a bit of a mass market destination. Large number of buses at the airport. So it will improve the quality of tourism. It will enhance foreign exchange, because when foreigners come, they spend more on these type of things. It will help achieve, preserve and natural areas such as forest and wildlife parks. More people going there in a proper way to study animals rather than just go there for entertainment. They will get involved with poor rural villages and provide them with jobs sometimes, and will generate income for these villages. Now we'll take some examples. Now in many of the hotels, we use local people as guides. We have taken local villages because they know the wildlife and the fauna very well. But they don't understand how to interact with the tourist. So we take them and we train them and show them how to interact with tourists, and then use them as guides. We use tame animals for tourism. In the zoo, of course, there is, but then what about using elephants to give a nice safari experience to tourists? So things like that also can be done using tame elephants. You can involve villagers in tourism, like I said, to help transfer some of these benefits to tourism, to the villagers. Now one example is in some of the hotels in Sigiriya, we take the tourists to experience village life. They go there, stay with the villagers for the morning, see how the food is cooked, see how we cook our curries, and then eat with the hands. And I can tell you, some of those things are so fantastic that they want to come over and over again. So this is ecotourism, where you go there, you don't disturb the village, you participate with them, study their ways, how they do it, and learn from that. And they come back richer for that experience. A lot of hotels now have organic gardens. Again, you must remember, a foreigner coming, he has not seen vegetables being grown. He goes to the supermarket and buys these vegetables. So when he sees an organic garden with lovely vegetables where he can pluck his own salad and come, these are important aspects of ecotourism. Hotels have embraced eco-friendly practices in Sri Lanka. Solar panels for water heating. There are bulbs which are energy conscious bulbs called CFLs. A lot of hotels use CFLs now. We don't use plastic bottles, we use glass bottles, we recycle our waste. So there's been a lot of work done in the hotels to move from this mass market tourism into more environment friendly practices. So the final aspect of tourism, ecotourism, is the 3 R's. Reduce your wastage, use only what you want, reuse what you can, and recycle what you can. So that's a lot of the 3 R's are important. It's a hallmark of ecotourism, and that's what the ecotourism is all about. So to end, I have tried to explain to you what the definition of ecotourism is. Then we try to look at what are the elements, what are the things that should go into in making ecotourism successful. Then we looked at some of the other areas in the world where ecotourism has been successful. And finally, we looked at Sri Lanka and how Sri Lanka's natural beauty can be used as a proper ecotourism destination. So, ecotourism, therefore, is a way forward for Sri Lanka's tourism. We can adjust our tourism from mass market slowly into more important ecotourism, which will then help preserve our natural beauty in our country. So, ecotourism therefore is take only photographs, leave only footprints. Thank you.
Unit 5 of the course in English for general academic purposes. In this unit, we shall be dealing with a new topic, religions of Sri Lanka. In this unit too, we shall be moving from one skill to another and shall not be demarcating different skills as different units. Objectives: dealing with comparison and contrast, enhancing the ability to follow a multi-speaker discussion, taking down notes during a multi-speaker discussion, presenting a short summary of a discussion, enhancing vocabulary dealing with the topic of religion, identifying discourse markers and understanding their role in speech, understanding opinions, enhancing the ability to make inferences during an academic discussion. The discussion on religions of Sri Lanka involves 4 different speakers and a moderator. The discussion will be presented in 2 sections. Here is section 1. As a pre-activity, watch section 1 of the discussion and familiarize yourself with what the speakers say on the religions of our country.
Hello, I am Vivi Marie and a warm welcome to this discussion on religions. I have here with me 4 academics from the Open University of Sri Lanka representing the 4 main faiths in our country and indeed 4 of the main religions the world over. Next to me is Mr. Lal Madavattagedara from the Department of Language Studies. Next to him is Professor Ryhana Raheem, also from the Department of Language Studies. And I also have with me Ms. Sunetra Gunatilaka from the Department of Legal Studies. And at the far end, Ms. Yashodhara Kadir Gamatambi, also from the Department of Legal Studies. Welcome to this discussion. Not only is the world getting increasingly smaller with our need to interact on a daily basis with people from different cultures and backgrounds, but we also need to find common ground for tolerance and peaceful coexistence in post-war Sri Lanka. We hope that this discussion will be a small step towards that journey of mutual understanding. We also hope that this discussion is relevant to students of the Social Studies Department taking the course called Cross-Cultural Communication, which has a unit in it called Religious Values in Cross-Cultural Communication. First, I would like to know very briefly, Professor Raheem, what is your definition of religion and why do you think we need it in today's society?
If you want me to define religion, I would say it's a system of beliefs And I think, you can use the word religion in many ways. People say she did, very religiously, which means she did it every day, regularly, and with belief. And so I don't think it necessarily means a set of, that there are only 4 religions in the world, as people seem to think, but that it can mean something that you believe in and something that you practice regularly. And to your question, why we need a religion, I think we all need something more than the material things of life. I think there is something more in our lives other than the day-to-day existence that we are subject to. So that's why I feel that we need a religion.
Right. And Sunetra, what are your views on that?
I agree with what Professor said, because I think the people, if they just think about what is happening in their present lives, but don't look beyond, because I think the fact of mortality is one of the things that probably limit the way we feel. And if we believe that there is a God or there is something beyond, that will moderate the way we behave in this society, and that will help us to live in a way where we do less harm to others.
Right. Yeah. And Lal, what is your take on what religion is?
I think to add to what Professor Raheem and Sunetra said, I think a religion, I would just like to add something for the definition. I would say religion is a way of living. And as to why we need a religion, okay, when we live, we need to be at harmony with us as well as the world outside. So the religion should define a system to achieve that.
Right. And I would like to know what Yashodhara feels about that.
Actually, why we need religion, as the previous speaker said, actually it's kind of set up beliefs and things that has been developed over a period of time. So actually why we need religion is, in today's context, as Sunetra said, see, we are living in a multicultural or multilinguistic society, so we have different opinions and all. So the religion is the base thing that can regulate our day-to-day activities, and we can live smoothly and peacefully with others. So that's what I feel, that we need religion, everybody.
Right. So a lot of the use of religion is for us to live with each other peacefully and well in the present. Okay. So in that case, can you briefly explain to us, Yashodhara, what is the absolute essence, what is the core teaching of Hinduism?
Actually, Hinduism, if I say core teachings, there are many things, but I would like the important things. That first thing is karma. Karma is past actions.
Okay.
So whatever that you are getting is based on your past actions. So we have a belief that we have to do good things always. So depends on the things only what we will reach in future. So even if I steal or if I do some wrong thing, so definitely the Hindu says that one day you will be punished. Maybe in this lifetime, or maybe in the next birth you will definitely. That is, karma is based on karma only. Your rebirth also depends. And the second thing is ahimsa. I think even the Buddhism accept the things. Not to injury others. That is ahimsa. So even that's how these many Hindus, they are vegetarians, because they don't want to kill the other living things and all these things. That is other than that, I think karma and the ahimsa is the most co-teaching this. And apart from this peace that is, even the Vedas, many texts, even the other religion as well teaching the peace. So today's in context, post-war Sri Lanka, we all are really need, we are going for the path of peace. So that's
right. So if I summarize it, it would be the key words would be karma, ahimsa, and peace that guide your beliefs. Sunetra, what would you describe as the
going to origins of, like, we believe in one God, but and the fact that God created the universe and the world and created mankind, and mankind was supposed to live in perfect harmony with God, but due to the sinfulness of man, they separated themselves from God, which is why Christ was then born, to actually unite the people back to God. And he basically, so we have some of the guidelines or principles of living which are given in the Old Testament before Christ's time and then Christ's time itself. And if you talk about the core principle, I think it's love. Because the whole of Christianity and the whole, when you look at the rest of all Christianity, it's linked to this principle of love. And the two core teachings that Christ taught by his life and by the way he lived, he died, the two main things he taught. One was to love your God above all everything else, and the second one is to love your neighbor. And it's not just simply love your neighbor, it's love your neighbor as yourself. So that, I think, if you just follow